Good morning, and thank you for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We'll be covering Caitlin Clark taking #1 in the WNBA draft. We'll also be talking about should the Lakers dodge Denver, along with a little bit more into the NBA. We will also be talking about CeeDee Lamb, who has been absent from the Cowboys spring workout, and make sure that you guys stick around for later in the show when we'll be diving into keeping the faith, feel-good stories. But before we start, I'd like to ask that you guys like and follow the show. We get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the shows. To make sure that your question gets read on air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. That link is gsmcpodcast.net. This just puts your question at the top of the list so I can see it, and it also really helps the show. Hello, Tate. How are you?
Good morning, Miss Faith. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Are you keeping the faith today?
I'm trying my best to keep the faith today. It's Tuesday, so.
Yes. Today feels like Monday to me. I'm kind of struggling. I was having my back was bothering me a little bit today, so I'm not my normal happy, energetic self today. Let's just say. So.
Yesterday definitely felt like a Monday for me. Today feels more like a Wednesday. To me.
Yeah, I know you were saying you're all motivated this morning. I'm the one I'm the one normally motivated in the mornings.
Which is crazy because I went to bed at like 11, so I'm only running on like 6 hours of sleep.
See, that's the Tater system. The less sleep, the more energy you have. This whole 8-10 hour stuff, that's crazy. Although I did this last weekend, I forced myself to try to sleep as much as possible. So I probably got like, I didn't really sleep. My definition of sleeping is like what a normal person would get, I mean, no, it's probably be what you'd be tired with, if I get 4 hours, I'm solid. I mean,
listen,
I'm ready to go all week.
If I got 4 hours, I would probably be energetic for like 2 hours, and then I would crash, and then I would be dead the rest of the day. So I don't think you want to see me in 4 hours.
I'm normally pretty like whenever I get a lot of sleep, which is like 6 hours, then 6-7 hours, I get something like that. It just ruins my day. I'm a wreck all day. I'm like all groggy and everything. No, can't do it. I know it's weird. I had a buddy of mine who came to me and he's like, "How long have you had this problem?" I'm like, "Since birth." I came out of the womb this way. I've never been a big sleeper my whole life. So it's just crazy. Which is weird. So anyway, let's dive into this and what do we have going on today?
Alrighty, so Caitlin Clark was taken #1 in the WNBA draft by the Indiana Fever. So Caitlin Clark admitted she was a bit nervous before being chosen with the #1 pick in the WNBA draft by the Indiana Fever, even though it was no surprise. Clark said, "I dreamed of this moment since I was in 2nd grade, and it's taken a lot of hard work, a lot of ups and downs, but more than anything, just trying to soak it in." The former Iowa star became a household name among basketball fans during her record-breaking college career, and she will now try and help revive the Indiana franchise along with last season's #1 pick, Aliyah Boston, who previously played with Clark on a USA basketball under-19 team. Obviously, going to an organization that has, in my eyes, one of the best post players in the entire world, Clark said, "My point guard eyes just light up at that, and obviously Aliyah has been one of my teammates before. I'm excited. I can't wait." The Fever taking Clark had been a foregone conclusion since she announced on February 29th she would turn pro. Nearly 17,000 tickets claimed to watch the draft at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, home to the Fever and the NBA's Indiana Pacers. Clark has helped bring millions of fans to women's game with her signature shots from the midcourt logo and passing ability. The NCAA's all-time leading scorer was a big reason why a record 18.9 million viewers tuned in to the national championship game, which Iowa lost to unbeaten South Carolina. The Hawkeyes were also the national runners-up to LSU a year earlier. So,
Okay. First off, congratulations to Caitlin.
yes.
I didn't want her. I didn't want her to turn pro. I wanted her to stay one more year, not because she couldn't play pro,
Yeah.
but I just wanted her to put the record so far to reach that it'd never be touched. Okay, goes to the Indiana Fever. Congratulations, the organization. From everything I know about the Indiana Fever, they haven't been the greatest. They haven't been feeling the fever, or they may have a fever. They haven't really been performing very well from everything I've seen. And last year they got the #1 overall pick, which they took Aliyah Boston, and then this year they take Caitlin Clark. Actually, I mean, it really does set that team up where Aliyah Boston's, that big inside presence. Now you have the point guard to go with it. Those are the two cornerstones to building a franchise. So now you just got to make sure you have the right people around them. So I think that's absolutely amazing. I was looking at the draft, and again, Caitlin Clark has brought eyes to different things that would have never been. Watching Iowa basketball, not something I would have done.
Yeah.
Women's that is not high on my list. You know what?
No.
Hey, I got to go see what Iowa's doing.
Yeah.
For women's basketball. Nope, not a thing I would be doing. You know that the women's March Madness is being played, NCAA tournament. You check out some highlights here and there, but that's about it. Not this year. You're like, what did Caitlin win? How did she win? She scored 40 here. She did this, and this. Next thing you know, you're watching the games. Women's Final Four. You're watching the women's Final Four, getting to know LSU and Angela Reese and South Carolina and Iowa, and watching that. Then watching the championship game and be invested in it. Like you have a rooting interest. You're completely into it. Even yourself, who has never really watched women's basketball, became a women's basketball fan, because of Caitlin Clark. Then roll right into the WNBA draft. Didn't even know when the WNBA draft was. I am a sports fan and did not even know when it was.
It was yesterday.
Right. Yes. That's what I mean. Yes. That's what I mean. Before this. And then sitting down and looking forward to seeing where did Caitlin was going to be #1. But then like Cameron Banks from Stanford, Brink.
Yeah.
Yes, Brinks. She went from Stanford. She went #2.
Los Angeles.
Cardosa from South Carolina. I didn't even know who she was until we got to the finals. And then learning who she was, and then
I didn't know she was going pro. I didn't know that she was going into the draft.
You see what I mean? Because you tuned in to see Caitlin Clark, then next thing you know, you're watching the NBA, you're watching the women's draft, and you know these players. I know Angela Reese. I just watched Angela Reese play. I know how she plays. Cardosa, I know how she plays and how tough she is. I learned about these people because of the visual, the phenomena that is Caitlin Clark.
Right.
And I've also seen a lot of hate toward Caitlin Clark, and I don't understand it from a lot of women. The hate that I have seen has been primarily other women attacking her, and so I think women should be really on board, because she's really raising the attention for all women in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, watching that was incredible. We were talking about this uh before the show.
Mm-hmm.
Comment on the comment that you were talking about with your comment, and give your answer, because I know I'm
Oh,
putting you on
okay.
the spot. Yes.
So
You
I
looked at
did a
me like you were looking like,
short.
what are you talking about? Okay.
I did a short yesterday on Caitlin Clark because she was on SNL this past weekend. So I did a
Hmm.
short on that. In the short, I think I mentioned that she is an all-time leading scorer, and somebody said that she was not. And so I already knew that she was, but I went back and made sure, and I did my research. Um, so Caitlin Clark is actually an all-time leading scorer for the NCAA's Division One. She surpassed Pistol Pete on March 3rd, 2024, after Iowa won over Ohio State. Goodness, sorry. And during that game, she reached a total of 3,685 points. And then she finished up her college career with a total of 3,951 points. So.
I mean, that because there's a lot of people, they don't realize how great she is. I
Mm-hmm.
love, okay, I'm going to say this. There used to be a tennis player, Anna Kournikova, and she was very popular in tennis, and she
Mm-hmm.
never won anything. And matter of fact, I was a poker player, and you know, I think it was like Ace King Anna Kournikova, because it always looks good, but rarely ever wins. And that's kind of but she had all this hype, but no results.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin's not that. Caitlin is massive hype, massive results.
Mm-hmm.
All-time leading scorer. The first player in history with 3,000 points and 1,000 assists. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, she's doing it on the field, I mean, on the court, offense, defense, her shooting game, massive range. I mean, that range transitions to no matter what kind of player she develops into the WNBA, she will always have that range. She's doing things that no one else has ever done,
Mm-hmm.
while she's getting this hype, while she's doing all this stuff, she's giving shine to other players uh on the court as well. Like I was saying about some of the players that just got drafted. Kind of the way I look at Tiger Woods. There was a whole group of players or golfers that I would have never known about except for Tiger Woods. The Tiger Woods effect had brought so many eyes to the golf game that so many players got recognized for their great play, but may not have been able to be recognized as much. But because Tiger Woods was there, the video, so many cameras are on him, that some of that shines on other players, and that's what she brings to the game. Because of you look at how many people tuned into the WNBA draft. No one turns into the WNBA draft, but this year they did,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's going to carry over. I'm excited to see her play for Indiana. Have you ever said, "Oh, you know what? I want to watch an Indiana Fever basketball game, women's basketball game"?
No.
That's never came across my lips ever, out of my
Mm-hmm.
mouth, across my lips whatsoever. But I will be checking out an Indiana Fever game next year.
Yeah, I feel like you have to.
I'm excited. I want to see like Aliyah Boston. I want to see her play. I want to see how they play together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued by it. So that's what she has done. She's brought attention to the women's game that it never had.
Mm-hmm.
It struggled. So I'll be tuning in. I will also be tuning in to see how well Angela Reese does as well, because I've become a fan of hers.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I love what has happened. It's going to make me more of a WNBA fan. It's not like we don't have enough sports to watch and cover, but we'll be adding in a lot more. So
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Honestly, I have never watched a WNBA game ever in my life. And now that Caitlin Clark has brought into light, all this stuff about how good all these ladies are, I think I will watch some WNBA games. And I really hope that the Caitlin Clark effect helps it out, and it's not just like a thing that'll happen like next year and then it'll be over with after that. I really hope that it gains some popularity after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's my big worry is I want to see her do well and keep it going, so she's not a flash in the pan. Kind of like when Magic and Bird came in, that rivalry brought up the NBA and put the NBA into a new stratosphere. I'm hoping that the Caitlin effect can put women's basketball into a new stratosphere.
Right. So. Me too. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about should the Lakers try to avoid playing Denver in the first round, and then we'll also be touching on some NBA championship contenders. So make sure you guys stick around, and we'll be back in a minute.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit. A stupid myth, you choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about Caitlin Clark being taken number 1 in the WNBA draft by the Indiana Fever, and now we're going to be talking about should the Lakers try to avoid playing Denver in the first round, and then we'll also be touching on NBA championship contenders. But before we do that, I just wanted to remind you guys to like and follow the show. We get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. That link is gsmcpodcast.net. This just puts your question at the top of the list so I can see it, and it also really helps the show. Alrighty.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm over here looking things up here, just trying to see where things are at. Just making
Gotta
sure
get all your notes squared away.
Yes.
Okay. So, should the Lakers try to avoid playing Denver in the first round? The Los Angeles Lakers clinched the 8th seed with their win over the New Orleans Pelicans on Sunday afternoon. They dominated New Orleans in the most important game of the year and will now hold a rematch against the Pelicans on Tuesday night in a play-in game. If Los Angeles were to defeat New Orleans on Tuesday, they would be setting themselves up for another rematch. They would be taking on the Denver Nuggets in the first round of the NBA playoff, a rematch of the Western Conference Finals from a year ago. If the Lakers were to lose to the Pelicans, they would then head home to host a win-or-go-home game against the winner of the Sacramento Kings and Golden State Warriors play-in matchup. The winner of that game would take on the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round of the playoffs. Oklahoma City is much more favorable matchup for Los Angeles over Denver, but the Lakers shouldn't try to avoid the Nuggets. They need to put all their effort into taking down the Pelicans on Tuesday to secure a spot in the postseason. It's playoff time. There's no ducking anyone. The road to winning another championship always was going to go through the Nuggets, but it's better for the Lakers to see them early on in the postseason rather than later. There's no guarantee that the Lakers could take down Sacramento or the Warriors in the second play-in game anyway. Los Angeles was swept by the Kings in the regular season and went 1-3 against the Warriors head-to-head. While the matchup with the Nuggets seems daunting, Los Angeles first needs to reach the official bracket. The hope is that they can avoid playing a second play-in game just to make the postseason. The Lakers can't worry about Denver until they see them on their schedule, and it all starts Tuesday against New Orleans.
Okay, so the question is, should the Lakers pretty much throw a game against the Pelicans so that they don't have to play Denver? It's weird to answer this. The answer is yes, and abso-freaking-lutely not. Under no circumstances, no. And I know I just talked out both sides of my mouth here by saying it this way. Here's the reason why yes. I think the Lakers could cause do some major damage in the playoffs. As long as they avoid Denver. You understand what I mean? So if they can avoid Denver, I think they can make some noise in the playoff. But I think that comes to a close the minute they play Denver. So that's the reason why, yes, you kind of want them to lose in a way, but absolutely not. Nothing is promised in the NBA. These are professional players, and the teams are all the teams in the play-ins. You have the Pelicans, a stacked team. You got the Sacramento Kings, and you got the Golden State Warriors. So you throw this Pelicans game, which if you win, you're in, and you're playing Denver. But you lose, you have to play the winner between Sacramento and Golden State. Well, Sacramento and Golden State have the ability, especially in a one-game elimination game, to easily beat the Lakers. And the Lakers not even make it to the playoffs. So under no circumstances would any team take the approach of we're going to lose or we want to lose. But the reason why I said yes is because of the fact that I think the Lakers could cause some real damage and really kind of build momentum. And they wouldn't have to worry about the Denver Nuggets until the Western Conference Finals if they came in under the 8th seed. I really like the Lakers against the Oklahoma City Thunder, but I don't like them against the Nuggets. I don't like anyone against the Nuggets right now. So that's the reason why my answer is yes and no. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know. It just doesn't seem smart to throw a game.
No.
Because then what happens?
No one is going to. No team in their right mind is going to say, like, you know what, we're going to mail in this game against the Pelicans, and it's no big deal, And then when it's time to turn on the switch, everybody has an off day. Yeah. Anthony Davis just had back spasms. Let's say somebody tweaks a knee, has, hurts their shoulder or something like that. Lots of things can happen that you are not prepared for, and it's one and done. When that next game, for the Pelicans and the Lakers, they just have to win one to make the playoffs. If they win, they're in. But the Kings and the Warriors, they have to win 2 games. The Warriors would have to beat the Kings or vice versa, and then they would have to beat the loser between the Pelicans and the Lakers. And you don't want a team coming off of a win. They're building momentum, and you've just cashed in a game. It's sometimes hard to flip flip the script in general, but then have a team. I wouldn't want to, would you want to say, hey, I'm going to lose on purpose so I can go up against Steph Curry? No. No, of course. Are you crazy? Yeah, I want to lose a game so I can face Steph Curry in a sudden death game. You're just asking to get your feelings hurt. So no. I'm not doing that whatsoever.
I mean,
So,
do you not think that there's a chance with the Nuggets if they match up with the Nuggets?
no, I don't think they match up with the Nuggets as well at all. At all. I don't. I keep looking at it. I'm a Laker fan, so make sure you guys understand this. So when I say no, I don't give them a chance. I've been watching it. And yes, they have extra size, and I think it'd be a great series, but I just don't think they match up well against the Nuggets. That would be another time my fandom would definitely show through, because I would be going nuts if the Lakers could knock out the Nuggets in the first round. Ooh, that'd be huge. All right. So I had to leave more time for our second NBA topic. So,
okay, so we have a list of 5 legit NBA championship contenders right now and 5 pretenders that can only dream. So the NBA season draws to a close and the playoffs are near. This year has seen franchises' fortunes rise and fall across the league. Teams that have been down for years are finally back, and former starlets have taken some steps back. Here are some teams we think have, not we, the person who wrote this, think have a legitimate shot at the NBA title and are real contenders, and a few are just making a show of it. So, we just talked about the Denver Nuggets. A contender of this is the Denver Nuggets.
Okay, the first one then. I'll comment on the Nuggets. What do they say about the Nuggets first? I'll let them.
They said this one is easy. The defending champs are right at the top of the West again and look locked and loaded to win another ring. Jokic and Murray are still firing all the cylinders, and the Nugs seem to be playing their best ball at the right time. It's hard to consider these guys anything but front runners for the title.
They're the favorites to come out of the West. Now, the West is loaded. The West is absolutely loaded. But I just don't think right now the Nuggets have to be favored over everyone. The best player in the league is Joker. Joker's the best player in the league. Murray's that perfect sidekick with him. Again, Joker's going to be MVP. They've come in off of winning a championship. They're a solid team. They're just a solid team. I'm very curious to see if they can go back to back. All right. What's another one?
Contender or pretender?
Give me a contender and then a pretender. So the first one was a contender. Let me hear a pretender that they say.
So pretender is the Minnesota Timberwolves. The other team at the top of the West is one we just can't sanction. The T-Wolves have been good the past 2 seasons, only to get trounced in the first round. They haven't been able to get to conference semis in 2 decades. While Anthony Edwards has come on as one of the best players in the sport, this is still a believe it when we see it kind of team. Their NBA contender status should remain a question mark for now.
Okay, they're playing the Suns in the first round. Ant-Man, this has been the year Ant-Man has come out. This is his game. I mean, could be his coming out party here. I I just don't see. I understand where he's coming from with this. I don't see them beating the Suns. The Suns are just too loaded. Um, I feel like they're still a player or two away, a year or two away. So I kind of agree. I don't look at them as a real NBA championship or coming out of the West contender. I just don't. I don't see it. So I agree. I agree with that one. All right,
Okay.
give me it. Next contender.
The Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks have had a bit of a rocky road this year, despite the huge offseason acquisition of Damian Lillard.
Damian Lillard.
Oh, sorry. They changed head coaches midseason, and Doc Rivers, the replacement of Mike Budenholzer.
Budenholzer.
Sorry, guys. Has just a 17-17 record for the squad. However, since the All-Star break, the Bucks have played winning basketball, including a 6-game winning streak out of the hiatus with Giannis at the
Giannis
helm.
Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, we think the Bucks have a shot at another title as NBA contenders.
Okay. Yeah, I should have warned you about Giannis's name.
Giannis.
Giannis's name is no joke, okay? you cannot, that's not for the faint at heart. Okay. The Bucks are that team where a lot of people are going to have them as possible coming out of the East, contending for a championship. This is my upset alert. I have the Indiana Pacers beating the Bucks. They won the series all year this year. The Pacers have performed incredibly well against the Bucks. I like the Pacers over the Bucks. I feel like, yes, the Bucks could get hot with Damian Lillard and Giannis. They have the experience. They have a championship. I just think this is a bad matchup for them. They haven't performed well. Them getting rid of their coach midway through the season, bringing in Doc Rivers. I have Indiana upsetting them. So I don't agree with this because I have them going out in the first round, that is a huge upset if that happens. I don't think anyone else has that prediction, but that's the prediction I am definitely going with there. Okay. Give me the next one.
Another pretender is the New York Knicks. I guess whoever wrote this is a fan of the Knicks. It pains this fan to say this, but without Julius Randle, the Knicks are not winning the title. As good as Bronson is, the team is not there without the second superstar. Unless Dante DiVincenzo becomes Steph Curry for the entirety.
Tenzo, yes, I haven't seen it come yet.
Becomes Steph Curry for an entirety of the playoffs. There's little hope. It's nice to see the franchise turn around, but that shoulder surgery has ruined the championship hopes.
I agree 100%. If you don't have Randall, you have no shot. It's Batman without Robin. It's Jordan without Pippen. You need that second guy. And they don't have enough firepower without him. Unfortunately, I feel like they're just a perfect candidate to just get upset and bounce out of the playoffs early. I think the best they can do, if they're lucky, they'll get bumped in the second round, but that's about all I can see them doing. When you start looking at the play-in teams, you got the 76ers, you got the Heat, you got the Bulls, you got the Hawks. And I like any of these guys against the Knicks. The Knicks are in trouble. I think the Knicks are in trouble, so I agree with that one. Any other one?
We still got a couple more. I'll just list them off for you. So another contender is the Dallas Mavericks. Then they also have the Boston Celtics as a contender, and they also have Oklahoma
City Thunder.
City
Okay,
Thunder as a contender too.
Okay. I'm going to look at that and I'm going to say, okay. Oklahoma City, I think they're not there yet. Another year. They need another year of seasoning. They're an up-and-coming team. This is that year. Rare teams don't just jump to the top and then take over. They need that experience first. Get that playoff experience this year. They'll be stronger next year. So I don't give them a shot. Boston is Boston. Boston's the best team in the East, maybe the best team in basketball. This is the year that Boston have to win the championship. Anything less than a championship for Boston is a huge failure in my eyes. So I just definitely see them as, they have to pull it out. But I like Boston. The Dallas Mavericks, I don't know about that. The Mavericks, Luka is balling, but they got the Clippers in the first round. That's anyone's series right there. Would I be shocked if Dallas got bumped in the first round by the Clippers? I would not be shocked at all. Yeah, I don't know if I make them a contender, but I think they're going to be tough. But I'm really intrigued about who comes out between them and the Mavericks. Okay, let's hear your pretenders. Last year's pretenders.
So on this list, we have the pretender Phoenix Suns, Philadelphia 76ers, and the Los Angeles Clippers.
I am not a Clippers fan at all. Zero. But I don't think they're a pretender this year. This is the scariest Clippers team yet. James Harden has been able to work in well with these guys. Kawhi Leonard, they're set. I think they have a shot not only to go far in the playoffs, but have the ability and the players to win it all. I'm still taking Denver, but the Clippers this could be that Clipper year. It's an all or bust. There's going to be a lot of pressure on James Harden. James Harden cannot fold this year in the playoffs. James Harden has to step up his game. The Phoenix Suns, I don't understand the Suns. I'm a little confused by the Suns. At the beginning of the year, when Kevin Durant and all those guys got together, I'm like, this is kind of unfair. You might as well just go ahead and send them the championship. And now you watch them now, and it's kind of like, I'm not sold on them. They didn't gel the way I was expecting them to gel. No, they just didn't. They didn't gel the way I expected them to gel. I think they could be a tough team, but the West is loaded. So I don't think of them as a pretender, because I do think they could get hot and actually cause some damage. But so no, I don't know if I call them a pretender. So that's my overall take on it.
I gotcha. So the top for you at all of these.
Okay, I'm gonna make a boring finals prediction.
Okay.
I got the Celtics versus the Nuggets for the championship, and I'm going to take the Nuggets to win it all back to back. So that's how I have it. So
you heard it here first, guys. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about CeeDee Lamb and how he was absent as the Cowboys begin the spring workout program. So make sure you guys stick around, and we will be back in a minute.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about should the Lakers try to avoid playing Denver in the first round, and we were also discussing NBA championship contenders and pretenders that can only dream. And now we're going to be talking about CeeDee Lamb and how he was absent as the Cowboys begin the spring workout program. However, we got a comment during the break.
Okay.
Lee from YouTube said Chicago Sky dominated the draft. Stay tuned.
Nice. I see. First off, I love the fact that you watched the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look at let me see what the Sky did. Anyway, who did they get in their draft? You got me looking here, sir. Let's see. I'm just trying to see here. Anyway, the Mystics did well. The Mystics did incredibly well. The Liberty. All right. Yeah. Cardoza. That's a great pickup. Yeah, I kind of agree. That's a player they took the player from South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Solid player. Could be one of the most impactful, maybe could be the second most impactful player in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of agree.
Yeah.
Chicago didn't do too bad. Okay.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, moving on from that. So CeeDee Lamb was absent as the Cowboys begin the spring workout program. So like last, getting
a little choked up over that Chicago Sky, aren't you? I get a little misty eyed, a little tear out of my eye there too. When I start thinking about it,
Oh gosh. So as we were talking last week, we discussed how CeeDee Lamb is holding out for a new contract because he wants to be one of the most paid wide receivers. He's a wide receiver, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He's not holding out. You can't hold out when it's a voluntary mini camp. You can't.
Yes.
You're not.
I know.
Technically, you're not holding out.
I'm tying it into what we did what we were
Okay,
talking
gotcha,
about
yes.
last week. So, so as expected, Dallas Cowboys star wide receiver CeeDee Lamb is absent from the team's spring workout program, which began on Monday with an 8 a.m. meeting, according to the Dallas Morning News. The workouts and meetings at this point in the offseason are voluntary, and with Lamb currently pushing for a major contract extension, he is not expected to join in. The former first-round draft pick in the line to become one of, if not the highest-paid wide receiver in the league, as his rookie deals come to a wrap. He is currently set to play the 2024 season on his fifth-year option of $17.991 million. The Cowboys have done little to incentivize Lamb's participation in voluntary workouts, though they would like for him to be there. Last month at league annual meetings in Orlando, Cowboys EVP Stephen Jones opened up about the potential for holdout. He cited former first rounder Ezekiel Elliott as an example. Everybody goes about it in a different way, Jones said. We've had guys who've been around. Ezekiel Elliott was never around when he wanted a contract, so we dealt with both. We respect Zeke, but you prefer that they're around when they're under contract. It's part of the business. You don't love it, but it's part of the business. TMZ Sports recently caught up with Lamb at a CSA Sports memorabilia event in Chantilly, Virginia, and asked if Cowboy fans should expect him back on the field with the team this fall. Lamb said, "Yes, I'll be in Dallas." Lambs also said he's looking forward to winning with quarterback Dak Prescott and the rest of his team teammates. For now, the Dallas Cowboys activities are voluntary. That changes when the mandatory minicamp comes around in early June. The team's spring workouts are exclusively for strength and conditioning as outlined by the CBA.
Okay, so like I said, you can't hold out on voluntary minicamp. You can't get fired on your day off.
Yeah.
These are just certain rules in life. Okay. So CD, he's just letting the world know, hey, I want my contract.
Mm-hmm.
The question is he doing it the right way? I say yes, he is. Mm-hmm. I'm a Cowboys fan. I like to be open about that. But if I was an agent, I would definitely have CeeDee Lamb hold out because of the fact that there's not enough pieces. I'm worried there's not enough slices of pie to go around. Mm-hmm. Dak's going to get a half a slice of pie. Like you got one whole pie. You got that one person that's going to just slice it in half and just take half of it and walk off.
Yeah.
So then Micah wants 3/4 of a slice and CD wants 3/4 of a slice. And there's only so much pie out there.
The math is not mathin'.
Right. And so I think it's a smart move. It's obvious that CD wants to be a Cowboy. But when you're thinking about, hey, if we have to sign Dak because of the salary cap hit that for, I think he said, $29 million, but it's like 40 something million this year and 40 something next year salary cap hit. To spread out the salary cap hit, it has to be spread out over years. Mm-hmm. So it's in the Cowboys' best interest to sign Dak because then it makes it easier to sign CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. But if you're looking at things and you're thinking about the pecking order of who you want to draft, who you want to sign, Dak is number 1, CD is 2, Micah is 2, CD could be 3rd. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you're sitting there as the 3rd option, you're on the outside looking in. And that's a scary concept when you're coming off of the best year of your career. You led the league in receiving. You want to strike when the iron is hot. And so this is the time to go out and hold out and get your contract and secure your future. That's what an agent does, is to put you in the best situation to be successful. Mm-hmm. No one questions, does the Cowboys want to keep CeeDee Lamb? Of course they do.
Yeah.
But there is a salary cap that you're dealing with. And there's only so much money out there, and I don't know how well it's going to fit. It all comes down to Dak. Are you signing Dak this year, or are you not? It seems like there hasn't been a lot of movement with Dak. And I was watching ESPN today, and they were talking about, don't be surprised if you could see Dallas making a move on a quarterback. And it's like, no. Dallas has too many other positions that they need to fill.
Well,
they need to fill the running game and defense. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
This said that the Cowboys team owner Jerry Jones called Lamb more valuable than anybody else. So there's that.
Well, okay, that's that. Like my man Jerry Jones. He's that. But no, he knows how to talk the talk. Mm-hmm. He wants to make CD known that the Cowboys love him and want him there. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, yeah, baby, you're the only one for me, but you didn't. I only have eyes for you, but your girlfriend said, he was over there talking to Becky.
Oh, Becky.
It's one of those kind of things. I think it's an important. He's important, but the the football math, the sports math behind it goes. It doesn't matter if Jerry thinks he's the most important player. Dak's no team has ever gone with a horrible quarterback and a superstar wide receiver and won a Super Bowl. You have to have your quarterback. Whether you sign Dak and restructure all that dead salary cap money that's gonna hit, which is the smart thing to do, or are you going to go out and draft a bunch of go through the draft, fill in some of the holes, get you a running back, and play Dak this year and get ready for CeeDee Lamb next year. CeeDee Lamb is making $5 million this year. Are they looking at CeeDee Lamb as the future? I'm very curious to see, because it seems like the Cowboys are okay with taking this hit, where it's like, you know what? Dak's contract is $29 million, but it's a $40 million salary cap hit. We're going to take the $40 million salary cap hit just to kind of see where we're at. And that could be going back to the all-in statement about the Cowboys, meaning this is it's all in or bust, meaning no, we're not going to sign Dak this year. We're going to pay him under contract. We're going to take the $40 million cap hit. And if we don't win, we're going to move on from Dak. Then in that case, you sign CeeDee, you sign Micah, and after this year, you're moving forward with Dak. But Dak is the linchpin behind all of it, determining what happens. I just don't see how you can do any of it until you take care of Dak first. You have to take care of Dak because of the salary cap. You take Dak's contract, spread it out. There's room for CeeDee. There's room for Micah. But if you sign CeeDee Lamb first, Micah Parsons second, then Dak has to go. There's just not enough room out there. Or you sign Dak and Micah, or you sign Micah first, then wait till next year to sign. It's all bad. It has to be soon. It's kind of weird because there's been no talk of even negotiations really between the Cowboys and Dak. It's like everyone is content with letting Dak play this season out and seeing where things are at. And in that case, then maybe they're planning on, hey, we're not going to sign any of them this year. We're gonna go through this year. We're gonna run this year out. Dak's gonna become a free agent. Whatever Dak does, if Dak performs, gets us a Super Bowl, we're gonna give him a blockbuster contract. If not, we're gonna move forward with Trey Lance. We're gonna sign CeeDee Lamb to his big contract. We're gonna sign Micah to their big contract and move forward. That's kind of starting to sound like what they're doing. Because I don't see any negotiations with Dak right now. I don't see anything where offers have been made or offers have been rejected. It's like everyone's just been content with where they're at. So what do you say? I know you've been hearing about this a lot. And so
honestly, I think they should just say sayonara to Dak Prescott.
A lot of people have that feelings about Dak, but here's the thing. Dak is a good quarterback. Make no mistake about it. He was an MVP candidate this year. Dak is at worst a top 10 quarterback. At worst. So, but he hasn't, what people say, he hasn't won the big one. But very few people actually do get a chance to win a Super Bowl. Very, very few do. Dak has been performing at a high level. I just have gone on record. I want them to sign Dak, but I just don't want them to sign Dak at 60 million, 65 million. That's the number that I have a problem with. Give Dak 50. Give him 55. But if you're going above that, then there's a lot of players that are not going to be coming back. There's going to be some key players that are going to need to be replaced. And I think, like you were just saying, and many people think like, hey, maybe it's time to turn the page on Dak. And maybe that's what they're doing. This is the last year Dak's under contract. He can't be traded. He can't be franchised. So you run this whole year out, but that's almost an $80 million cap hit. There's $40 million this year, and I think it's like 40 or something like that this year, or 35 and 40 or something like that. I'm just going off the top of my head, off memory here. But it's a huge salary cap hit. But you do get to change, you do get to turn the page on the Dak Prescott history, kind of like you and many others would like to see that move forward. But you better be sure that Trey Lance is your future. Trey Lance, they picked up his option. He's making $5 million a year, which is 5 times what Brock Purdy got last year.
What he's still making.
You know, but you know, Trey Lance is only 24 years old. So you have your quarterback of the future. If you're looking at Trey Lance, he's been in the Cowboy organization for a year. He got to sit behind Dak for an entire year. And now he, you know, by the time Dak's contract's up, CeeDee Lamb's going to be, not CeeDee Lamb, but Trey Lance would have sat behind Dak for 2 years and would be theoretically ready to go. You sign CeeDee Lamb, you sign Micah Parsons, and you turn the page on Dak Prescott, because I think if Dak goes to the end of this year, Dallas will not be able to sign him, because I think there's going to be some teams that's going to put together a lot of front-loaded contracts. And what I mean by front-loaded contracts is you can carry over salary cap space. If you don't use it this year, you can use it next year. So there are going to be teams who are looking at Dak that may carry some salary cap space over, give Dak a very large number the first year or the first 2 years, and then taper it down from there, which would make it a contract that that Dallas could not match. I think if Dak makes it to the end of this year, Dak won't be back. Whether Dak wants to come back or not, everything has showed me that Dak wants the money more than being a Cowboy.
Yeah.
And you see some of the things that his family has said, his brother and things. They don't really want him in Dallas either. I think if things don't get taken care of within soon, then this is the end of the Dak Prescott era, as far as what I'm seeing. And I don't have any inside information. This is my speculation, but I think that we're coming to that end.
I think that as well.
So
yeah. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into our Keeping the Faith feel-good stories, so make sure you guys stick around, and we'll be back in a minute.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC. To access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about CeeDee Lamb being absent as Cowboys begin the spring workout program, and now we're going to dive into our Keeping the Faith feel-good stories. This is a cute little one. I mean, they're all cute, but this is a cute little one.
Oh boy, I'm a little concerned already.
Okay, so millions of people turn to dating apps to look for love, but what one Minnesota couple found out was more than an against all odds match. Elizabeth Christensen, a mom of 2 young kids who was recently divorced, matched with a man named Joshua Colbert on the Hinge dating app in April 2023, and they immediately started talking, and she told CBS News. The first day they matched on the app, Elizabeth started asking the typical get-to-know-you questions like where he grew up, but as Joshua gave her answers, she became more and more shocked. She asked where I had grown up, and I said I grew up in Andover and went to Northside Christian School, Joshua told CBS, and she said, like, no kidding, I went there too in kindergarten, and then we put it together. We graduated in 1995, so we were like, maybe we were in the same kindergarten class. So Elizabeth found their class photo, and sure enough, Joshua was in the photo, but that's not where the similarities end. Elizabeth was born on September 13th, 1988, and so was Joshua. Elizabeth was born at Mercy Hospital, in Minnesota, and so was Joshua. The pair were born at the same place on the same day, just
They're
6
twins.
hours. That would be, yeah. Oh, that would be a different story.
Sorry, Faith.
So the pair was born at the same place on the same day, just 6 hours apart. The coincidence seemed too good to be true, but outside of the kindergarten, they had never crossed paths, nor did their families. They had planned on meeting in person for a date the following week, but Joshua was excited and asked Elizabeth to lunch the next day. Elizabeth told her parents they dug up old home videos that they had digitized. We actually found our old kindergarten graduation video, so we were both in there. And the crazy part is, her mom zoomed in on me in video, Joshua added, and then panned out and zoomed back on Elizabeth. So it was like, we saw that and we were like, no way. A mother's intuition, I guess, Joshua added. Joshua's mom died when he was 7, and he said his dad told him to take things slow and steady with Elizabeth. But after meeting Elizabeth and meeting her parents, he was totally sold and totally supportive. The couple believes that they were brought together again divinely. Elizabeth, who was previously married for 9 years, said she and Joshua, who were previously married, were in a dark place after going through divorces, and that's usually where we've seen God really work in our lives. Just a month into dating, Joshua popped the question. I'm old school, so I asked her dad for her hand in marriage, he said. Her family's very tight-knit. We met for dinner every other weekend after church. Elizabeth's dad is a pastor. About 5 months after they were reacquainted on the dating app, they tied the knot on September 13th, 2023, their 35th birthday, at Pinewoods Wedding and Events in Cambridge, Minnesota. So, it's a cute little story. I will say, I think they got married a little too early. That's just my opinion.
Babe, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, moving a little fast, pump your brakes.
I mean, because after 5 months, you didn't even really know each other. But it is a cute story, and people say...
Yes, keep on.
People say when you know, you know. But, I wouldn't be marrying somebody 5 months after I met them.
I told you a story about my sister fixed up my buddy Ricky, and they went on a date on that Friday, that Saturday the next Saturday they were getting married. They had only known each other a week, and they stayed together. As far as I know, they're still together. That's crazy to me. 5 months. 5 months is not enough time for me to get serious with anyone.
Mm-mm.
I'm willing, in 5 months, I'm willing to be exclusive. That's all good. We're good there. But to say, hey, I'm going to take 5 months to figure out who I want to spend the rest of my life with is a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, but it did make me think of a story, and how it's weird how coincidences happen, how you cross paths.
Hmm.
So I was in Folsom, California, and I was looking at this house that I wanted to go to, that I wanted to get, and I went there and everything, and met the family that owned the house before, and we're just talking and
Hmm.
having a great conversation. And he's talking about, he has a poster with Pittsburgh Steelers up on his wall.
Hmm.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a big Steelers fan." And I'm like, "Here's a funny thing. I grew up smack in the middle between Cleveland and Pittsburgh in a little town called Alliance, Ohio."
Hmm.
And he looked at me and he was like, he's like, "Shut up. Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, I'm from Alliance."
Hmm.
And it was like, "No way." Then we started talking, and then we found out we graduated the exact same year.
Hmm.
Then we found out we knew all the same people. We were in the same class, graduated the exact same time. I met him at his house in California, the house that I eventually got and moved into. And this guy, we went to school together 3,000, like almost 3,000 miles away,
Hmm.
and just so randomly came across each other because I liked their house.
Hmm.
And yeah, we knew all the same people. I never laid eyes on this guy a day in my life, but we had a lot of the exact same friends.
Yeah, that's crazy. I have a friend of mine who that I was friends with in high school.
Mhm.
Her and I met each other in middle school, and we found out that we were born on the same day in the same year, and she's like 5 hours older than me.
Yeah, that stuff's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember walking out of New Orleans and bumping into a woman, coming out of my hotel, and this woman looks at me and she says, you know, are you related to? And she says, "My mom's name."
Hmm.
And it's like, "Oh, that's my mom. Your mom's one of my great friends." And I knew this woman. I had been around her since I was a kid, like, but hadn't seen her in years,
Hmm.
and just happened to bump into her in New Orleans. I was in Costa Rica, and it happened once where I ran into someone from my hometown. It is just bizarre.
It is
Uh,
bizarre. Yeah.
Moving to Portugal, I think it was like the first week I was in Portugal, I go to the tennis club, and I run into a couple that had just moved from San Francisco to Portugal, the same area that I had just moved from. I got there a week before them. We're great friends right to this day. We moved here, that never knew each other at all, lived in the same area, and then moved to the same country in the same town a week apart.
I
It's just
think
weird.
I think Tate's stalking some people.
That is so
He's like, it's just
Portugal.
a coincidence. It's happened so many times in my life.
Those are weird ones, right?
Those are
Those are
odd. Hmm.
Yes, that those are extreme. And then I always find it funny that LeBron James was born in Akron, Ohio,
Hmm.
and at this hospital, the exact same hospital. Steph Curry was born in the Akron, Ohio, in the exact same hospital. You know what I mean? It's just kind of those
Hmm.
coincidences in
Yeah.
life. And those two dudes are two guys that transcended the game at the exact same
Hmm.
time, were born in the exact same city in the exact same hospital. Those
Something in the
coincidences are
water.
just amazing. So you don't have a do you don't have a lot of those like that, like that you ran into those weird little situations?
I mean, this one time, he actually still goes to my school, but I used to go to church camp when I was a kid, and I became really good friends with this one guy when we were kids. The one like weekend we were there, and then I never saw him again. And then I ran into him like a couple years ago, and I was like, oh my god, hey, like we went to church camp together. And he didn't remember me, and so I had to go find like photographs of us from church camp together. And then he was like, oh yeah, but he actually goes to my school right now, so, and I see him every once in a while.
I'm like, well, what exactly do you do at church camp? That's a question right there. What exactly goes on at church camp?
I couldn't tell you on that one, because that was so
I'm just
long
saying,
ago.
you went to church camp, and it's kind of like you always hear about these church camps and
Oh,
things.
it was a good church camp. It wasn't a bad or sketchy church camp.
I wasn't making any accusations towards your church camp. I was just kind of curious of what y'all do at church camp.
You know, sing
Brother
some
needs
songs.
to know something.
Sing some songs. I couldn't.
Do you think it was? Is it fun?
I had
feel
fun.
like church camp would not be as much fun. I have been to church camp once. I helped my wife out one time at an event. They had some people drop out and they needed some people to fill in, and I went to kind of help out. But yeah, it was like in the middle, it was in the woods and everything. It was a bunch of little kids, and I was like, okay. So I've done the church camp, but that's not my regular scene to hang out in. So anyway, back to this lady.
Yeah,
That's an amazing story. That it's weird how the world comes back around.
it is. Yes.
And then the person that might have been was your soulmate was just right there, right under your eyes, right under your nose.
Literally,
you
yeah.
know, and you just didn't know it. It's just it's weird when you talk about most people will marry someone that they grew up within a 5-mile radius. Pretty much that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
The majority of all marriages are people who you've known, who's in your inner circle. You know, you don't necessarily have to go that far to find your soulmate, because they're probably right there. And it's weird when I go back home and I see couples that are married and been married for years, and it's like, how the heck, I didn't even know you guys knew each other. Or it's just so weird to see these different couples that I thought would never happen, actually happen. A lot of times that's right up under your nose.
Yep. It's crazy. Crazy how the world works. But with this, that, guys, we're going to close out the show for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you tomorrow. Peace.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn ain't